It's TK Friday, and today in the joy of editing, I have another full edit for you. I'm calling this one Whispers of Erongo. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the joy of editing with Dave Kelly, and welcome to TK Friday. Today's image comes to us from Werner Woska. Thank you, Werner, for the use of your image. You can download the image and the PDF notes. Just go to the description of the video, click on more, scroll down through. You'll find Dropbox links for both the image and the PDF notes. If you have an image you would like me to edit on a TK Friday, scroll down even further. You're going to find a Contact Me link. Contact me, and we can discuss doing one of your images on a TK Friday. I'd love to hear from you. If you don't yet own the TK9 plugin for Photoshop, I'll have links in the description below this video that'll take you over to Tony Kuiper's web store. You could pick up the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. There's training videos. You can save 15% off your entire purchase. Use my promo code DK15. There's also a bunch of free panels over there you can pick up. And don't forget, there's also the TK Magic Mixer. It's great for black and white conversions and working with color images. It's only $10. You can pick that up. And again, all of Sean Bagshaw's great courses you can find over there as well. And again, use my promo code DK15, save 15% off your entire purchase. When you use my promo code, I make a small commission, and this helps me to keep these videos coming your way. So thanks for using my promo code. I really appreciate it. All right, then let's get started. Now, as always, I start out here in Lightroom Classic. On this image, I used a linear profile, clicked auto, and then I looked at the histogram to make sure I wasn't clipping whites and blacks, and I had a slight amount of clipping, which I corrected with the white and black sliders. I left my white balance as shot. As far as detail, no sharpening, and I used the AI noise reduction in Lightroom. And then for lens corrections, I always check on remove chromatic aberration, enable profile corrections, and I also did a crop. Let me click on the crop tool button. And that is my crop. Now we'll go back to the image. These basic edits here in Lightroom are a good starting point for when I send the image into Photoshop and develop it fully using the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. Now all I have to do is right click on the image, go to Edit In, click on Edit in Photoshop 2025. Here we are in Photoshop. The first thing I want to do is do a balance and contrast of the sky and the foreground. Now that'll involve two layers because what I'm trying to do here is build up overall contrast in the image and also make sure that the sky and the foreground are balanced, meaning that they fit together in this scene. Let me show you how I do that. You'll notice I have my Photoshop actions opened, and I'm going to use this BNC landscape action that David Tillett provided with TK9 version 3. These are example actions that were made by recording TK9 button clicks. Now, you cannot run these actions from your My Actions panels. They only run from Photoshop actions. If you have TK9 version 3, these actions came along with that update. Just look for your TK9 version 3 folder, double click it, double click on Documents and Resources, double click TK9 example actions, and then there's a PDF in here, so make sure you open that up and read it. It'll give you instructions how to install these actions, and here are the actions right here. There's TK9 blend if actions, and TK9 actions, as well as non-English versions of those. Just about every week somebody says, I can't find these TK9 actions, I don't have them. And that's why I thought this week I'm going to show you where to find them. If you have TK9 version 3, you do have them. By the way, you see this panel right here? This is a TK9 My Action panel. This is a Photoshop action panel. Remember, as I said earlier, these actions will only run from Photoshop actions, not from My Actions panels. I'll click on the BNC landscape button, and note I have a foreground layer and a sky layer. And each one of these layers are intersected with a MIDS 3 mask, just to protect me from clipping shadows and highlights. And the foreground layer only affects the foreground, the sky layer only affects the sky. Each of these layers are curves adjustment layers that are controlled by this color grading tool. So we're starting up with foreground. I want to lighten up the foreground, so I'm going to click this button right here for midtones. And then with this brightness slider, I'll drag it to the right to lighten up the midtones, and I'll take it over to right there, 42. Now I also want to color grade this a little bit, so you see my cursor. Wherever you click on this color wheel, you will drop a color grade. I want a slight warming, I'll click right here. Now I know that doesn't look very good, but now I'll click on the shadow button and I'll add some shadow contrast. So I'll take this brightness slider and we'll start to drag it to the left and it'll start looking a lot better. And I'll take it over to right there, -41. Now that's looking better already. I'll click on the highlight button and I just want to open up the highlights because we have this nice light tree in here, and I'll open those up to right there, 50. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here is after. Now I'll click on the sky layer. I'll click on the midtone button and I just want to lighten up the sky a little bit. I'll take this slider, I'll drag it to the right over to right there, 14. Now I want to give it a little bit of a blue color grade. I'm going to hover my cursor right around here and give it a click and see what we get. And I like that little bit of blue in there. Let me shut off the sky layer. Here's before and here's after. I really like it. Let's click the overall before and after button on the combo or CX panel. We started out here and we end up here. And already this image is looking really good. Now you could stop right here if you wanted to, but I think we could go further and really make this even better. Let's see what we can do. The next step is to build up some contrast in the midtone. So here's what I'll do. I don't need this color grading tool, so I'll click the X. Nothing changes on the color grading layers. Come up to the multi-mask panel, click this button to get a curves adjustment layer. And we have some presets here for curves. Click the drop down and you have different contrast presets. And for this image, I'm using increase contrast RGB, so I'll give that a click. And now my whole image gets really contrasty, but I only want it in the midtone. So here's what we do next. Come to the combo or CX panel, click this button right here. You'll put a black hide all mask on this layer. And then I'm not sure what kind of a midtones mask I want, so I like to click this button right here and we go into adjust layer mask. Now right now there's a black hide all mask, but note we have these light masks from lights 1 to light 6, from darks 1 to dark 6, and then we have midtones, midtones 1, midtones 2, midtones 3. They're all midtones, but midtones 1 is the most subtle of the midtones, and then midtones 2 is in the middle, and then we have midtones 3, which is the strongest effect. So I start out with midtones 1. I'll give it a click, and now you can see that contrast is only going into the midtones. Now let's try a stronger midtones mask, midtones 2. I'll click on midtones 2. That's too strong, and obviously if I click on midtones 3, that's way too strong. I'm going to click on midtones 1, and that's what I like. And now I don't need adjust layer mask anymore, so I'll click the X. Now I'll shut this layer off. Here's before and here's after. Now my midtones got a little dark, and usually after a midtone contrast adjustment, I like to lighten the midtones. I'll show you a really quick and easy way to do it. But before I do that, I don't want that midtone contrast in the sky, so come to the combo or CX panel, click this layer mask calculator button, click on sky, and click minus to subtract it. If I click this double arrow button on the combo or CX panel, you can see the mask and you can see the sky is subtracted. Now the reason when I clicked on the layer mask calculator and you saw sky in foreground is because when I clicked on the BNC landscape Photoshop action, it created a sky and foreground channel. Any masks that you save out as channels will always appear when you click on the layer mask calculator button. And now for the midtone lightening. Come up to the combo or CX panel, hold down your shift key and click on this SCR button. That stands for screen blend mode. We get a curves adjustment layer with a black hide all mask that is called screen brush, and it's in the screen lightening blend mode. And what the screen brush is all about, you get a white brush that you could vary its opacity amounts and then just paint on your image, and in that screen blend mode you can lighten up your image. But I'm using it for a different purpose. I want to lighten up the midtone, so we're going to come back up to the multi-mask panel, click this button again, going into adjust layer mask, and remember I want to lighten midtone, so I can click on midtones 1, see how all my midtones lighten up in midtones 1 or 2 or 3. But midtones 1 is all I need here. I'll click the X to close this panel. Now I only want it in the foreground. I'll come back to the combo or CX panel, click the layer mask calculator button, and then I'll click on sky, click minus to subtract out the sky. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. I'll shut off these two layers. Here's before midtone contrast, and now here is after midtone contrast. Now, for both the midtone contrast and the midtone lightening layers, if they're too strong, you can always pull back on the layer opacity if needed. But I like what the midtone contrast did to the foreground, especially down in this area. It brought out a little extra detail, which I think really helps. Now, as I study out this image, I'm looking at the foliage in this area right in here, and I'm thinking I'd like a little more saturation, and I'd like to shift the hue a little more towards green. Here's how we can do it. Come up to the multi-mask panel. Now I'm looking for saturation, so we're going to click this button here and create a color mask. A color picker comes up, and I just want to sample some of the foliage color in here, like maybe right here, and click OK. And now you can see our mask. Now I can refine this because it's picking up a lot of the foreground area down in here, and I'm mainly looking at the foliage on the trees and down in this area. So what I'll do is I'll take this top handle and start to drag it into the right. And you'll notice the warmer colors are going away, and I'm left with just mainly the green color. Now we can lighten that selection up by dragging this slider to the right, and I'll take it over to like right here. And now the mask is nicely targeting the foliage. Now we need to output this. I'll click on the hue saturation adjustment layer button, and we have a hue saturation adjustment layer with that mask. And now what I want to do is work on the saturation first. I'll drag this slider to the right to right there, 43. Now let's work with the hue. I'm going to drag this slider to the right. And now all that foliage is getting more green, and I like it. And I want to take it to right there, plus 17. Now I want to slightly darken that color, so I'll take the lightness slider and we'll drag it to the left over to right there, -7. Now let me shut off this layer and look at that foliage. Here's before and here's after. I like it. The next thing I want to do, you see this area all around here. I just want to slightly darken it to draw more attention to this mound right here and the tree. Here's where we can use a multiply brush. So come to the Combo CX panel, hold your shift key down and click the multiply button. We get the multiply brush. Now I'm at 10% brush opacity. We want a low opacity with a nice soft edge. And what I want to do is just kind of paint in these areas right up in here. If you lift your brush and paint again, it'll get a little stronger. And then down in here, it's going to feather nicely onto that mound when you get to the edge, but paint in here. I'm going to pause the video, paint a little bit more, and I'll get back to you and show you my final result. I'm back. Now this is before the darkening over here. And now let me turn this multiply brush layer on. Here is after. Again, before and after. I think the effect's too strong. I'll take the layer opacity and ease off a bit. I think right there, 70%. Again, here's before, here's after. And I really love that soft edge brush. And you can just hand paint there with that nice soft edge brush. Everything will blend nicely around the edges. And now we have a little bit more emphasis on this mound area here. And now, let's stick with this mound area. See the shadows in here? If I deepen up these shadows on this mound, I think it's going to look really nice. And I'm going to try a freehand technique here. So what I'll do is come to the Combo or CX panel and click the left or the right side of the burn tool. I'll click the left. I get a 50% gray layer in the soft light blend mode with a black brush. And right now I'm at 10% opacity. And what I want to do is start to paint over dark areas. Now, if I paint or unclick my mouse and then click and paint again, it'll darken that up even more. So I'm just looking for dark areas, and just be creative here. Use your artistic license and just find these areas and darken them up. Now right across here, I can make my brush a little larger, maybe just paint across there like that, and down in here, over in here. And what I'm going to do is finish painting this. I just wanted to give you an idea of what I'm doing. I'll get back to you and show you my final result. I'm back. Now, right now you're seeing before. Let me turn on this layer. Here is after. Again, before and after. Now, that's way too strong, and I made it a little strong because I wanted to show you. If you do go overboard, you always have layer opacity. Just drag back on the layer opacity. I usually take it the whole way off and then just slowly build it up and stop where I think it looks good. And I think right there, it's 70%. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. I really like the results I got by using the freehand technique. And for this area, I think it was a great choice. Coming up next, I'll be dodging through a zone mask selection. And after that, I'll be burning another area through a zone mask selection. Take a look at these boulders up here. What I want to do next is lighten up the highlights. In other words, dodge the highlights of the boulders. And to do that, I'll use a zone mask to help me. Come up to the multi-mask panel and click on this button for zone masks. A color picker comes up, and what I want to do is sample one of the highlights, like say right here. And I'll click OK. And now what I need to do is refine this. So what I'll do is take the Tighten slider. We'll start to drag it to the left. And I'll take it over to like right here. Now I'm looking at the light areas in the boulders. What I'll do is I'm going to take this slider and drag it into the left a little bit. Yeah, see how I'm picking up more of the light areas of the boulders? And I'll take it over to like right here. Now I'll just lighten that up slightly to somewhere right around there. I think should be good. So if I paint over into the sky, I'm not going to hurt anything. And now I need to output the mask. You could click on the left or right side of the dodge tool. It's not going to matter in this case. I'm going to use the left side. You'll note that I have a selection. I'm painting through a selection. My opacity is at 10%. If yours isn't at 10%, type your 1 key. That's the shortcut. And now with a nice soft edge brush, just paint over the highlight areas that you want to lighten. And just get the ones that you think will help. And remember, you are painting through a selection. I'll pause the video and continue to paint these highlights and get back to you. I don't want to waste your time watching me paint all these boulders. I'm back. Now this is before the dodging of these boulders. Now let me turn on the layer. And here is after. Again, before and after. It's too strong. So again, take your opacity, drag it the whole way off, and then just build it up slowly and stop where you think it looks good. And you know what? I think it looks good maybe right around here. Let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. And now I really like the way these boulders are looking. And now I'm looking back at these mountains back here. The shadows I want to darken up. I'll use a zone mask to help me target them. So we'll come up to the multi-mask panel. I'll click the zone mask button. The color picker comes up. I'll just pick a dark tone like right here and then click OK. Let's refine this mask. I'll take the Tighten slider. I'll drag it into the left over to like right there. I'll take this slider. Let's just drag it to the left a little bit, maybe to like right there, 80. And with the brightness slider, let's lighten it up just a little bit. Now we need to output this to a burn tool. Now the burn tool is right here. It has two sides. You can use either side in this case. I'll use the left side, which is a 50% gray layer in the soft light blend mode. Note the selection indicator around the multi-mask panel, meaning we're painting through a selection. I still have 10% brush opacity, and with a nice soft edge brush, we can paint right over these areas in here. Now remember, it's targeting the dark areas because we are painting through a selection. I'll pause the video now and finish my burning and get back to you and show you my final result. I'm back. This is before the burning of the mountains up here, and let me turn this layer on. Here is after. Again, before and after. Now I'll shut off all the dodging and burning layers. This is before dodging and burning, and this is after. This layer was a freehand burn layer. This layer was a dodge layer with the aid of a zone mask, and the top layer was a burn layer with the aid of a zone mask. Up next, I want to reduce the saturation of the warm colors in the foreground, but only on the strongest saturated colors in the foreground. And I will use a saturation and vibrance mask to help me. So I'll click on this button. I'm on saturation 1, and all the lighter areas represent the most saturated colors. And this is what I want to target. Now, if I go to saturation 2, my mask is a lot weaker, so I need a stronger mask. So I'll click on saturation 1. That's the one I need. I need to output this mask. I'll click this button right here to give us a hue saturation adjustment layer. I want to target these warm colors, so click on the red circle. And I'll take this slider and drag it to the left to reduce that saturation. And I'll take it to right here, minus 39. Now let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. And now watch the image. I'll disable this mask by clicking this X on my combo panel. See how much of that red would get reduced if I didn't have that mask. Now let me turn that mask back on by clicking the X. I'll shut this layer off one more time. Here's before. And here is after. Thanks to this saturation vibrance mask, we can just reduce the mostly saturated red colors. Next up, I just want to close off the bottom of this image. So to do that, we're going to hold our shift key down, click on the multiply button on the combo or CX panel, gives us a multiply brush. And what I want to do at this point is click on my gradient tool, come up to the menu for the gradient tool, make sure you're on gradient, click the drop down. And if you have your TK gradients, click your white to black gradient. Make sure you have linear clicked on, do not have reverse checked. And then I want to click right here and drag a gradient up to right about here on a slight angle. You see that angle right there? release the click of your mouse. Now, if we don't want to see this line, just click on the curves icon. And what we can do is take the layer opacity the whole way off and just build it up slowly. And I think I'll stop right here at 40%. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. Isn't that nice? It just closes off the bottom and it really showcases off the tree in this area of the mound. I really like it. Now let's close off the top. Again, hold your shift key down while clicking the multiply button. We get a multiply brush again, which is a curves adjustment layer in the multiply darkening blend mode with a black hideout mask. Click on your gradient tool, come up to the gradient tool menu. You should still be set up for white to black with the linear gradient on and reverse not checked. We're going to click right here, click and drag down. Hold your shift key down to constrain that to go straight. We're going to drag it to right here, release the left click of your mouse. We don't want to see this line, so click the curves icon, that goes away. And now we'll take our opacity the whole way off and again build it up slowly, and we'll take it to right there, 28%. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before, here's after. It just darkens off the top, closes it off, and keeps our viewer into the frame. Only 2 more steps and we're done. I want to add a vignette. If your TK actions aren't open, go to your combo or CX panel and click your TK button, click on Vignette. A Gaussian blur dialog comes up, just click OK. I'll shut off the vignette. Here's before and here's after. I think it's too strong, so we'll take the opacity. It defaults at 30%. Let's cut it in half. I'll take it to 15%. Now let me shut off the vignette. Here's before and here's after. That's more like it. I'm not even going to use blend if on it. I think it's fine. And now for the last step, it's going to be a color luminosity adjustment. If your TK actions aren't open, click a TK button on the combo or CX panel and then look for color loom. Give that a click. And with these color sliders, I can adjust the luminosity values of these different colors. Now, I'm only really interested in the sky colors, which consist of cyans, blues, and magentas. And after making some adjustments, I ended up only using cyan and magenta. I want to darken cyans a bit, so I'll drag this slider to the left, and I'll take it to right there, 18. And now magentas, I just want to darken magentas a little bit. We'll take this to the left over to right there, 20. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after, but see how that's only affecting the sky, and I really like that. Well, that concludes the edit. Let's see the overall before and after. Come to the combo or CX panel, look for this button, give it a click. This is where we started out. This is the overall before. I'll click it again, and this is the after. I'm really happy with this edit. I hope you download the image as well as the PDF notes and give the edit a try. Well, there it is, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's full edit tutorial. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and if you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. Click that bell notification icon. Click all so that you'll receive all notifications, and then every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll get notified about it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today in the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. I will see you all right here next time, but until then, happy editing.